Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, we will continue from where we left. It is Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, eighth chapter, seventh sloka onwards. Proktam kilaitad bhagavattamena nivritti dharma birathaya dena santa kumaraya sachaha prishtaha sankhayana sankhyayanayanga dritavrataya. Lord Sankarsana thus spoke the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam to the great sage Sanat Kumara, who had already taken the vow of renunciation. Sanat Kumara also, in his turn, when inquired by the Sankhyayana Muni, explained Srimad Bhagavatam as he heard it from Sankarshana. So the context is the questions. There are certain questions that Vidura asked, and Maitreya told that this very questions were asked by Sanat Kumar to the Lord Sankarshana, and Lord Sankarshana spoke, and the Sanat Kumara he repeated this knowledge to Sankhya Muni. So also, so this goes to say these basic questions are always there because all of us are living entities, and all of us are away from our original home, that is the spiritual world, and all of us are trying to fit in this artificial environment of material world, and all of us face similar kind of a problem. So no, that's how these statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are highly relevant to us, because these are all basic questions that every living entity gets. Every living entity must get. A person who's come to a little no proper understanding or proper level of consciousness, no, he is wakeful to the spiritual truths, so immediately he gets this kind of questions. So and here we see that Sanat Kumara he asked, and then there are some other munis also asked the same question, and now Vidura is also having the same question. So and many of us also can relate with these questions what he is putting. So in this way, like, we can see that these questions are always there, and by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, which is answer to all the questions, we will get all the answers to our life. Okay. Purport. In this way, the parampara system, although in this way, okay, this is the way of parampara system. Although Sanat Kumar, the well-known great saintly Kumara, was in all or was in the perfect stage of life, still he heard the message of Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Sankarshana. Similarly, when he was questioned by Sankhya Muni, Sankhya Rishi, he spoke to him the same message he had heard from Lord Sankarshana. In other words, unless one hears from the proper authority, one cannot become a preacher. In devotional service, therefore, two items out of the nine, namely hearing and chanting, are most important. So, nine is that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So, all of them, there are various processes are there. Out of them, Shravanam and Kirtanam, the first two are very important. Without hearing nicely, one cannot preach the message of Vedic knowledge. So, this also goes to say what all aspects we are hearing. One is that we are hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam in the afternoon reading session we are doing, and in many other places we will be hearing the message. So, this is, we should have an attentive hearing. That is one. And then next is we are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and that time also we should hear very, very carefully. So, though we are repeating this point many times, it is a very relevant point because our mind keeps going away all the time. So, we also have to keep saying and listening to this point that we have to focus on the sound vibration. We have to focus on the sound vibration. So, it is very, very important thing. So, more we hear nicely, more we advance in Krishna consciousness. Right? Text 8. Sankhyayan Paramahams Mukhyo Vivakshamaano Bhagavad Vibhutihi Jagad So Smad Gurave Vittaya Parasharayat Brihaspatescha. So the great sage Sankhayana was the chief amongst the transcendentalists, and when he was describing the glories of the Lord in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, it so happened that my spiritual master Parashara and Brihaspati both heard him. So now we see that no, Sanat Kumara asked from Sankarshana, and then Sanat Kumara spoke to Sankhayana Muni, and then when he was describing, so Parashara and Brihaspati, so they also heard this thing. And Parashara is the father of Vyasadev. Brihaspati is the knowledgeable or the spiritual master of all the devas. When such people were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 9. Provacha mahyam sa dayalurukto muni pulatsyena purana madhyam soham tavaitat katayami vatsa shraddalave nityam anuprathaya. The great sage Parashara, as aforementioned, being so advised by great sage Pulatsya, spoke unto me the foremost of the Puranas, that is Bhagavatam. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower. Okay, purport. So the great sage of the name Pulatsya is the father of all demoniac descendants. Once upon a time, Parashara began a sacrifice in which all the demons were to be burnt to death because his father had been killed and devoured by one of them. So the great sage Vashishta Muni arrived at the sacrifice and requested Parashara to stop the deadly action. And because of Vashishta's position and respect in the community of sages, Parashara could not deny the request. Parashara, having stopped the sacrifice, Pulatsya, the father of the demons, appreciated his Brahminical temperament and gave the blessings that in future he would be a great speaker of the Vedic literatures called the Puranas. So the supplements of the Vedas. So Parashara's action was appreciated by Pulatsya because Parashara had forgiven the demons out of his Brahminical power of forgiveness. Parashara was able to demolish all the demons in the sacrifice, but he considered demons are so made that they devour living entities, men and animals. But why on that account should I withdraw my Brahminical qualification of forgiveness? So this is an amazing this one. So when the demons, they are not giving up their bad quality, why a Brahmana should give up his good quality? Okay. As a great speaker of Puranas, Parashara first of all spoke on the Srimad Bhagavat Purana because it is the foremost of all Puranas. Maitreya Muni desired to narrate the same Bhagavatam he had heard from Parashara, and Vidura was qualified to hear it because of his faithfulness and is following the instructions received from superiors. So this is the qualification. No, a disciple must be of this nature. He should be faithful in following the instructions received from the spiritual master and the superiors. So then he becomes a very proper disciple. And unto such disciple, all the Vedic knowledge will be revealed. It is mentioned Yashadeve Paravakti Tata deve yatha deve tata guru tashyeta katita hi artha prakashante mahatmana. So one who has implicit faith on the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of the Vedic knowledge will automatically revealed within the heart. Right? So that's what the shloka says. So in this way, this is a very important thing. By executing the instructions given by the spiritual master, one becomes very, very what is that, qualified, and then very apt to receive the Vedic knowledge. So here we see that Vidura is appreciated by his spiritual master in this way. He is very faithful and he is following the instructions received from the superiors. So he is qualified to hear Bhagavatam. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam was being narrated from the time immemorial by the disciplic succession, even before the time of Vyasadeva. The so-called historians calculate the Puranas to be only a few hundred years old, but factually the Puranas existed from time immemorial, before all historical calculations by the mundaners and speculative philosophers. Anyways, like we have full faith in this, that all these Puranas, they were from the beginning of creation, millions and trillions of years before onwards. These things are there, the narrations are there. Okay, text 10. Udaplutam vishwamidam tadasid yannitrayamilita dranyamilayat अहीन्द्रतल्पे दिशयान दिशयान एकः कृतक्षणः स्वात्म रतौ निहीरः. Okay, at that time, when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu was alone lying on his bedstead, the great snake Ananta. And although he appeared to be in slumber, in his own internal potency, free from the action of external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. So now the description of the this one, the answers are going to come, or Srimad Bhagavatam is coming up. Let's see the purport. The Lord is eternally enjoying transcendental bliss by his internal potency, whereas the external potency is suspended during the time of dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. So when the three worlds are submerged in water means this is like when the partial annihilation happens. So only Brahma Loka is just there, and Brahma is just there, and all other lokas below are all completely destroyed. And then no, Brahma is there in the top, and Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is there in the bottom. So only these two are there, and there is no temporarily the external energy or material energy is suspended, right? So till the time the next creation starts. Okay, text 11. Sontha sharirer pitabhuta sukshmah kalatmikam shaktim udira yanah uvasa tasmin shalile padesve yathanalo daruniruddha viryah. Just like the strength of fire within the fuel wood, the Lord remained within the water of dissolution, submerging all living entities in their subtle bodies. He lay in the self invigorated energy called Kala. Okay, this we need to study the purport to understand this. After the three worlds, the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems merged into the water of dissolution. The living entities of all the three worlds remained in their subtle bodies by the dint of energy called Kala. So that means their gross bodies are not there, because the all the lokas, loka means a place where people can live. No such a place is called loka. So, and all the lokas, no, all the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower, all are submerged in the water, and there is no place for living entities to live. So then all the living entities, they are there in their subtle bodies, and this is by the dint of Kala, or time. The time dictates everything in this world. So we all make a nice living and things like that, but when the time of dissolution comes, everything will be washed off. All the buildings that we have built, all that we have done in this world, everything will be completely washed off. And no, we will have to be there in our subtle bodies. And after the dissolution is finished, then everybody will be given bodies again. So this is keep on going on. We'll keep doing something in this material world, some dissolution will happen, and then again we have to take birth again, and then keep doing this whole thing. And then we don't know like how many times we would have gone to the LKG, UKG, first standard, and things like that. So many times we have repeated and repeated and repeated, and no, till now, the very point that still we are living in this material world means after repeating it so many times, still we have not got sufficient intelligence that this place is not fit for my staying. I have to get back to the spiritual world, right? So that that enthusiasm is not coming. We are okay to again and again repeat this whole struggle of material existence, and we don't want to wind up this, right? Okay. In this dissolution, the gross bodies became unmanifest, but the subtle bodies existed, just like the water of material creation. Thus, the material energy was not completely wound up, as is the case, or as in the full dissolution of the material world. So, as we discussed, this is a partial annihilation. Full annihilation means even the Brahmanda, even the Lord Brahma dies. Once the Brahma dies, then the whole universe is finished. The universe, life of the universe is Brahma. And just like our body, the soul is the life of this body. In the same way, Brahma is the life of the universe. If Brahma is gone, then the universe is gone. So it's like that. So Brahma is the living entity, and Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is the Paramatma. Just like we have the Paramatma is there, and then we, the living entity, is there. In the same way, the bigger body of the universe has also its Atma and Paramatma. And in that way, like we see that when Brahma dies, then it's full dissolution. So that time the material energy is fully wound up, and here material energy is also wound up to a partial extent. So because the living entities are not having gross bodies, but they still have the subtle bodies, that is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that is still there, and that means the material energy is still functioning partially. चतुर्युगानां च सहस्रमप्सु स्वपन् स्वयो धीरितया स्वशक्त्या कालाख्यया साधितकर्मतन्त्रो लोकानपीतान् ददृशे स्वदेहे. The Lord lay down for 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas in his internal potency, and by his external energy, he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kala Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish. Okay, so here we see that 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. So even in Bhagavad Gita, this one is given. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam means like 1,000 cycles of this 4 yugas. So Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. So the daytime of Lord Brahma is 1,000 cycles of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And what we are discussing now is the night time of Lord Brahma. And to that number of years, 1,000 times of 4 yugas, so like the night time goes, and in the night time of Lord Brahma, if Brahma sleeps, no creation exists. All the 3 worlds get destroyed. So that is how dangerous if Brahma sleeps. Imagine we are when we are chanting, sometimes we doze off, and in that way, like Brahma, slightly if he sleeps off, that's all. Everything, all the universe, all the worlds, everything will start destroying. Things. So it is so important that Brahma is to be awake. So if Brahma is awake, we are all safe. If he sleeps, we are gone. So that is how Brahma's wakefulness is so important. So when when Brahma's nighttime comes, this whole universe is wound up, and then it is all retracted, in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and the living entities are completely, they are there in the subtle bodies, and then they are resting in the body of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and this is all happening by the Kala Shakti of the Lord. And this Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, his body is bluish. Okay, purport. In the Vishnu Purana, Kala Shakti is mentioned as avidya. Avidya means the ignorance. The symptom of influence of Kala Shakti is that one has to work in the material world for fruitive results. So that means if we are practicing Krishna consciousness, and if we are like going beyond avidya, that means Kala Shakti also stops acting on us. So we cannot be controlled by the Kala Shakti if we become nice devotees. So the material time cannot dictate our actions. So then Krishna will personally take charge of the actions of our life, right? So that is the benefit of being a devotee of the Lord. He becomes freed from the Kala Sarpa, Kala Sarpa or Kala Shakti. So, the moment we become freed from avidya by the mercy of the Lord, so then immediately we are released from the Kala Shakti. So we will not be, when the dissolution happens, we don't need to wait in the body of this Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So we can just go back to the spiritual world. So we don't need to wait in this kind of dissolution cycles. So that's the benefit of practicing serious devotional service. Okay, the symptom of the influence of Kala Shakti is that one has to work in the material world for fruitive results. The fruitive workers are described in Bhagavad Gita as moodas or foolish. Such foolish living entities are very enthusiastic to work for some temporary benefit within perpetual bondage. One thinks himself very clever throughout his life if he is able to leave behind him a great asset of wealth for his children, and to achieve this temporary benefit he takes the risk of all sinful activities without knowledge that such activities will keep him perpetually bound by the shackles of material bondage. Due to this polluted mentality and due to material sins, the aggregate combination of living entities appeared to be bluish. Blue is also a color of poison or a sin and things like that. So such an impetus of activity for fruitive results is made possible by the dictation of external energy of the Lord, that is Kala. So we saw that Kala is synonymous to avidya, and avidya means ignorance, and in ignorance what we do sin. So this sinful propensity is powered by this ignorance, and when we perform Krishna consciousness, we will be freed from avidya and we will be freed from Kala Shakti. Okay, text 13. Tashyata sukshma binivishta drishter antargato thyo rajasathaniyan gunena kalanugatena viddha सोष्यम सोष्यमस्तदा बि तदा विद्यत नाभिदेशात्. The subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. Okay, so text 14. Sapadma kosha sahasodhi सहसोदिष् सहसोदतिष्ठ कालेन कर्म प्रतिबोधनेन स्वरोचिषा तत्सलिलं विशालं विद्योत विद्योतयन् अर्क इवात्मयोनिः. Piercing through the sum total form of the fruitive activity of living entities took the shape of the bud of a lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will, it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. Okay. Text 15. Talloka Padmam Savu Eva Vishnu Pravi Vishat Sarva Guna Vabhasham Tasmin Swayam Vedamayo Vidata Swayam Bhuvam Yamsma Vadanti Sobhut. Into that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu personally entered as the super soul, and when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, who we call the self born, was generated. Purport. This lotus flower in the universal Virat form, or the gigantic form of the Lord in the material world. So here we see that this lotus flower is the universal Virata form, gigantic, the Virata Rupa. So all the sum total of all the living entities, all the material modes of nature, everything is put together, is getting generated as a lotus flower, right? And then it becomes amalgamated in the personality of Godhead Vishnu in his abdomen at the time of dissolution, and it become manifest at the time of creation. So all this thing, when it is destroyed, it is all concentrated, and then it just gets into the abdomen of Garbhadaksha Vishnu, or Nabi, specifically. And at the time of creation, that all that thing which is resting in the Nabi of Garbhadaksha Vishnu is coming back as a lotus flower. Okay, so this is due to Garbhadaksha Vishnu, who enters into each of the universes in this form. Um, in this form is the sum total of all fruitive activities of living entities conditioned by material nature, and the first of them, namely Brahma, or controller of the universe, is generated from this lotus flower. This firstborn living being, unlike all others, has no material father, and thus he is called self-born or Swayambhu. He goes to sleep with Narayana at the time of devastation, and when there is another creation, he is born in this way. So from this description, we have the conception of three: the gross Virata form, the subtle Hiranyagarbha, and the material creative force Brahma. Right. So these are the three entities that are there. Even the Brahma is sometimes called as Hiranyagarbha, because this universe is also like it's like a golden egg. No, it's the whole universe externally. It appears like a golden egg, and Lord Brahma is called as the Hiranyagarbha, like who's there within this egg actually. So, and also we see the Virata form. So that's the Lord's impersonal, means Lord's gigantic Virata Rupa, and then the Hiranyagarbha is the subtle form, and then the Brahma is the most grossest or material creative force, which is there. So we see that this world also has all the features just like we, the small living entities, have. So we have our gross body, we have our subtle body, and we have the soul and the super soul. So all of it is there in the macro world also. What is there in our body, the very same kind of mechanism is there in the universe also. The universe also has its the material coverings, and then it has its subtle aspects, and the subtle body is called as the Hiranyagarbha here, and then the creative force or the living entity who's actually the Dehi, or the possessor of this universe, is Brahma. In this way, like we see that all components of our body, or what we are. So but just by studying ourselves, we can actually study the entire the creation. So in that way, like we have the mapping between, everywhere it is the same kind of features that is there. Even when we were studying about how different things got manifested in this world, we saw that there is Adi Atma, Adi Bhauta, and Adi Daiva. So all these three things are there. So there is one controlling deity that is there, and then there is a subtle element that is there, and the gross element that is there. So it's all everywhere. This three things are there. So this is how the whole material universe is constructed. Okay, text 16. Tasyam chambho ruhakarnikayam avistito lokamapasya manah parikraman yomi vivritta netras chatvari lebe nudisham mukhani. Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, could not see the world, although he was situated in the world. He therefore circumambulated all of the space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of 4 directions. So, 4-headed Brahma. So it's like, you see, Brahma, this is the daily affair for Brahma. So the night when he sleeps, he, like with all the living entities merged into the Nabi of Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Lord Brahma also goes there to sleep. And then when the next day starts, the lotus flower again comes up, and the Lord Brahma again takes a seat over the lotus flower, and again he has forgotten everything. No, Brahma gets complete brainwashed, fully, completely, he has forgotten everything. And Lord has to again teach him the Vedic knowledge, again give him the Vedic knowledge. And again, Brahma starts creating the whole thing. You can imagine like every day, you get up and you do the same thing. And at the end of the day, everything is destroyed. And then again, the next day you have to do all over again. So that's how Brahma's job is. Like he has to keep doing this creation again and again and again, right? So for his 100 years, he has to keep doing this every single day. Okay. Text 17. Tasmad yuganta swashana gurna jalormi chakrat shalilad virudam upashrita kanjam ulokatattvam natmanam adda vidadat adidevaha. Lord Brahma, situated in that lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus, or himself. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water, and the lotus is great, move the water and the lotus in great circular waves. Purport. Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus, and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation of the solar years of human beings. So, no one, therefore, can know the mystery of creation and cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. The human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction. So we see that even Brahma, with 4 heads, with unlimited intelligence, so much intelligence he has got, with that he could not able to understand this whole world, and he got confused, right? And it is very, very important. And Brahma later on, during Purushottam month, we were studying this Brahma's prayers. So he was mentioning prasada lesha nugrahita evaye janati tattvam bhagavan mahimna. So just by getting a little bit of mercy of the Lord, we will be able to understand things clearly. But if we have not got the mercy of the Lord, even though we try so much, we will not be able to understand anything, right? So it's very, very important that we need to have the mercy of the Lord. So text 18. Kayeshayo swab ahamabja prishta etat kuto vabja mananyadapsu asti hi adasthad iha kancha naitad adishtitham yatra satanubhavyam. Lord Brahma, in his ignorance, contemplated, who am I that am situated on the top of this lotus? Where from has it sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water. Purport. The subject matter of the speculations of Brahma in the beginning regarding the creation of the cosmic manifestation is still a subject matter for mental speculators. The most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence and that of the whole cosmic creation, and thus tries to find the ultimate cause. If his attempt is properly executed with penances and perseverance, it is sure to be crowned with success. So we see that this questions, the existential question is always there. Who am I? Why this world is existing? Why am I put into so many problems? And what is the solution for all these things? What is my source? And what is the source of this world? So all these questions are always been there. And no answer to these questions is the perfection of life. If we can get answer to these questions, and that is possible if we execute penances and with perseverance. If we do this thing, execute penances. Now why do we if knowledge is what all we want, then why we have to get up early in the morning, why we have to perform mangalarti, why we have to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, and why we have to do all the devotional service that we are doing. So this is the penance that we are doing, and when we do this penance, then the understanding comes automatically, right? So study of Vedic scriptures is also one kind of penance. The study in itself is not going to give us the knowledge, but the penance, if it pleases the Lord, by the blessings of the Lord, we will be able to get the knowledge, right? So that's the amazing aspect. So we should always understand Krishna consciousness is resting on the platform of mercy of the Lord. No, without the mercy of the Lord, nothing we can do. Okay, text 19. Sayittamudviksha tadabjamnala na nadi birantar jalama vishesha nar narvagatastat karanala nala nabim vichinvamstad avindatarjaha. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the water through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going near to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the root. Purport. By dint of one's personal endeavor, one may go nearer to the Lord, but without the Lord's mercy, one cannot reach the ultimate point. Such understanding of the Lord is possible only by devotional service, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 1855. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yachasmi tatvatah. Right. So this is again we are hitting the same point. So here Brahma is in the phase of trying to understand himself, about know himself and the creation, and he will be utterly failure. No, and nothing is there in the world, like only Garbhadaksha Vishnu, the lotus that comes from his navel, and on the lotus Brahma is there, and he just has to find the root, and he is not able to. And that's how this one is without the mercy of the Lord. Even though if it is quite obvious, still we will not be able to understand. We can just present ourselves in front of the Lord, we can stand in front of the Lord, but we cannot understand anything about the Lord if until unless we get the mercy of the Lord. Okay, text 20. तमश्चपारे विदुरात्म सर्गम विचिन्वतो भूत सुमहां स्त्रीनेमिः यो देवबाजां भयं ईरयान्नः परीक्षिणोत्थि परीक्षिणोत्थायुर् अजस्य हेतिः. O Vidura, while searching in that way about his existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel in the hand of Vishnu, and which generates fear in the mind of living entities, like the fear of death. So we see that the unknown, like ignorance, creates fear. Here Brahma is not able to understand what's there in this world, and what's the purpose of this world, what's the source of this creation, and what is he supposed to do. Nothing he is able to understand. So that ignorance creates fear. No, so now we are also fearful all the time, because we don't know death may come and what will happen after death, or tomorrow something else may happen, and I may not be having all the riches which I am having. What will happen tomorrow, what will happen day after tomorrow. So many ignorance, so many things which we don't know, and because of we don't know, we have so much of fear in the heart, right? So that's the power of the time, Kala Shakti, which is the wheel in the hand of the Lord. Text 21. Tato nivritto pratilabdha kamaha swadishnyamadasya asadhya punas devaha sanerjita swasya nivritta chitto nyashidad aruda samadhi yogaha. Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from such searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. Thus, controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Purport. Samadhi involves concentrating the mind upon the supreme cause of all, even if one is unaware of whether his actual nature is personal, impersonal, or localized. So here, no one may ask that he doesn't know like what is his creation, and how did he got the idea that no, there is a supreme Lord and I have to focus on him. So it's very simple. Like the whole analysis of Lord Brahma is that I am there in this lotus. If this lotus is there, there must be some root, there must be something from which it is coming, there must be some source of this thing. So he has that inquisitiveness, he has that much of knowledge, and through that he is just meditating on whichever is the source of this my existence. Let me focus on that, and let me do the tapasya, right? So that is what he is trying to do. So concentration of the mind on the Supreme is certainly a form of devotional service. To cease from personal sense endeavors and to concentrate on the Supreme cause is a sign of self-surrender. And when self-surrender is present, that is sure sign of devotional service. Each and every living entity needs to engage in devotional service to the Lord if he wishes to understand the ultimate cause of his existence. So very nice. Text 22. Kalena soja purushayu shabhi pravritta yogena viruda bodha swayam tadantar hridaye babatham apashyatapashyat apashyatapashyata yanna purvam. At the end of Brahma's 100 years, when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge, and as a result, he could see in his heart the Supreme within himself, whom he could not see before with greatest endeavor. You see, this is the way, like when we perform devotional service, and when the Lord becomes pleased with our devotional service, the same Lord, no, we can see him at every sphere of existence, no. But then if we try to understand by our own endeavor, so we will not be able to find him at all. So everybody wants happiness, no. So people try to get happiness by the way of money, by the way of good education, or by the way of no janma aishwarya shruta shri. So no, all these things and various things, like they are looking for happiness in various things. But then yayatma suprasidati, we can actually become happy only if we get the Lord. So that's why sometimes, no, Srila Prabhupada says, actually every one of us are searching for Krishna. Some of us know, some of us don't know. No, we are looking for happiness. That means we are searching for Krishna. We are searching to attain Krishna. We are looking to attain Krishna, but we are not. Some of us know that we are searching for him, and some of us don't know that we are searching for him. Right. So, like this search can be finished by performing devotional service and getting the mercy of the Lord. Once we get the mercy of the Lord, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, Vidhi Mahendra Adishchakithayate, right? So when we will get that, when we will get to this kind of a point, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, anything happens to me in this life, nobody can disturb my happiness. No, when we will get that kind of a state, no, this Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavatam Tam Gauram Evastamaha. So when we get the little bit of mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Sri Krishna, no, especially through the medium of spiritual master, so then we will become so happy that nobody can possibly disturb our happiness. No, things can go wrong in this world, but nothing can disturb our happiness. Deep from within, we will always be very, very happy, right? So that's the important aspect. You see, like when Hiranyakashipu was torturing Prahlad, externally it was so difficult situation. No, if we are put in that situation, we will say, better I'll die, rather than going through all this pains and this one. So like we would have opted for suicide. There's no need of suicide. Like no, Hiranyakashipu was anyways trying to kill Prahlad, but Prahlad was not dying, and Prahlad was not in misery also. He was in so much of bliss, and Hiranyakashipu was getting irritated. I am trying to put this guy into some kind of suffering or some kind of fear or things like that. How is this person not able to feel even a pinch of pain? No, how is it possible? And even he says that you are just like a dog's curved tail. No, how much ever I try to make it straight, it'll always get curved. In that way, like I'm not able to do anything with you. Though you are a small boy standing in front of me, and I'm so powerful and so so huge, I can do anything and everything with you, but still I'm not able to do anything with you. So that's this one. We see that the power of devotional service. If we are fully surcharged with the devotional service to the Lord, and we are blessed by the mercy of the Lord, we can be also in that kind of a state where nothing can disturb our happiness. We can be very, very happy deep from within, right? Okay. Purport: the Supreme Lord can be experienced only through the process of devotional service, and not by one's personal endeavor and mental speculation. The age of Brahma is calculated in terms of Divya years, which are distinct from the solar years of human beings. The Divya years are calculated in Bhagavad Gita 8:17. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharet Brahmano Viduhu. Brahma's one day is equal to 1000 times the aggregate of 4 yugas, calculated to be 43 lakhs years. His one yuga means one cycle of Satyateta Dwapar Kali, and into 1000 of that is what is Brahma's one daytime, and equivalent is the one night time. Okay. On that basis, Brahma meditated for 100 years before he could understand the supreme cause of all causes. And then he wrote the Brahma Samhita, which is approved and recognized by Lord Chaitanya, in which he sings Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. One has to wait for the mercy of the Lord before one can either render service unto him or know him as he is. So, even to render service, even to get some service, like it is a great mercy of the Lord. Without the mercy of the Lord, we cannot get any service to him. Text 23. Mrinala Gaurat Yata Sesha Boga Paryanka Ekam Purusham Shayanam Panata Patra Yuta Murta Ratna Dyubirhatatvanta Yuganta Toye. Brahma could see that on the water there was a gigantic lotus like white bedstead, the body of Seshanag, on which the personality of Godhead was lying alone. The whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels uh, bedecking the hood of Seshanaga, and that illumination dissipated all the darkness of those regions. So this Lord was always there. No, Seshanag was always there, and but then Brahma could not able to see. Only after tapasya, only after performing devotional service and purified in the consciousness and being blessed by the mercy of the Lord, then he could able to see things clearly. Otherwise, no, it is all whatever we are seeing now. It's all filled with the darkness of ignorance. And by devotional service, we will be able to dissipate the darkness. And then when we see, we will be able to see things as it is. Right now, we are not able to see things as it is, right? So we are able to see only no darkness. Text 24. Preksham Shipantam Haritopaladrer Sandhya Niver Ururukma Murdnaha Ratnodadha Raushadi Shauma Nashya Vana Sujovenu Bujangri Pangrehe. The lustre of the transcendental body of the Lord mocked the beauty of the coral mountain. The coral mountain is very beautiful, beautifully dressed by the evening sky, but the yellow dress of the Lord mocked its beauty. There is gold on the summit of the mountain, but the Lord's helmet bedecked with jewels mocked it. The mountains, waterfalls, herbs, etc., with a panorama of flowers seem like gardens, but the Lord's gigantic body and his hands and legs decorated with the jewels, pearls, tulsi leaves, and flower garlands mark the scene of on the mountain. So that means anything very, very scenic and wonderful in this world, the most beautiful thing of this world, cannot be compared to the beauty of the Lord. The beauty of the Lord is like very, very amazing, which is beyond our experience. Purport. The panoramic beauty of nature, which strikes one with wonder, may be taken as a perverted reflection of the transcendental body of the Lord. One who is therefore attracted by the beauty of the Lord is no longer attracted by the beauty of material nature, although he does not minimize its beauty. In Bhagavad Gita 259, it is described that one who is attracted by Param, the Supreme, is no longer attracted by anything inferior. Okay, text 25. Aya mato vistaratha swamana dehena lokatraya sangrahena vichitra divya baranam shukhanam krita shriya pashrita vesha deham. His transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, occupied the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and the lower. His body was self-illuminated by unparalleled dress and variegatedness and was properly ornamented. Purport. The length and breadth of the transcendental body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead could only be measured by his own measurement because he is all pervading throughout the complete cosmic manifestation. The body of material nature is due to his personal beauty, yet he is always magnificently dressed and ornamented to prove his transcendental variegatedness, which is so important in the advancement of spiritual knowledge. Okay. Text 26. Pumsham swakamaya viviktamargair abhyarchatam kama duhangri padmam pradarshayantam kripaya nakedu Mayukha Binnanguli Charupatram. The Lord showed his lotus feet by raising them. His lotus feet are the source of all awards achieved by devotional service, free from material contamination. Such awards are for those who worship him in pure devotion. The splendor of his transcendental rays from his moon like toenails and fingernails appeared like the petals of a flower. Purport: the Lord fulfills the desires of everyone just as one desires. Uh, Pure devotees are interested in achieving the transcendental service of the Lord, which is non different from Him. Therefore, the Lord is the only desire of the pure devotees, and devotional service is the only spotless process for achieving His favor. Srila Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 that pure devotional service is jnana karmadi anavritam. No? Pure devotional service is without any tinge of speculative knowledge and fruitive activities. Such devotional service is able to award the pure devotee the highest result, namely direct association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. According to Gopala Tapani Upanishad, the Lord showed one of the many thousands of petals of his lotus feet. It is said, ब्रह्मणोश्व अन अनवथरम में ध्यायतः स्तुतः भरार्धान्ते सो बुध्यथ गोप वेशो में पुरुषात् आविर आविर्बभूव. After penetrating for millions of years, Lord Brahma could understand the transcendental form of the Lord as Sri Krishna in the dress of a cowherd boy, and thus he recorded his experience in Brahma Samhita in his famous prayers, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So yeah, it's like the Brahma Samhita is the prayers which Brahma composed in his maturity, and he says that Goloka Eva Nivashati Akila Atma Bhuto. So he mentions that the Lord who resides in Goloka, that is Krishna. And then he says, Venum Panantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham, right? So he's having the Venu, he's having the flute. And then Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam, Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. He describes the threefold bended form of Krishna, which is not to be found in any of the Vishnu Rupas. So no Vishnu Rupa is threefold bended form and no having a flute and a peacock feather and all this combination of this one's what Brahma is describing in Brahma Samhita, that he saw Krishna personally, right? So that's how in the beginning of creation he was blessed by the Supreme Lord, and we will see further also like many wonderful things that comes up. Anyway, so we will stop here. And as we had mentioned in the group, so today's few devotees got initiation, and we have amongst us Chaitanya Karuna Sindhu Prabhu, who's Chaitan Prabhu, got initiated, and I think he's really very happy today. So Prabhu, you would like to share some things?
Hare Krishna, all the devotees. So, thank you very much. I would like to extend my.
Probably you can come on video also.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 1 minute, Prabhuji.
Hari Hari.
Yeah. So, I would like to extend my gratitude to Harishet Pro. Actually, he has been guiding me since a very long time, and it is only because of the dear devotees like Harishet Pro that we get an opportunity to first of all get connected to such nice literatures, parampara. And today I got a very good opportunity to actually get connected to the bona fide parampara. And I would like to thank Harishet Proji for this. Thank you so much, Proji.
All the devotees prayed for you yesterday.
Yes, bro. Actually, I last 10-15 minutes I got busy with some office work and I had reduced the volume. I couldn't listen.
Hmm.
So
So you can express your gratitude to them also.
yes, yes. So so thank you so much, all the devotees. Thank you for praying me. It was only possible because of the prayers of all the devotees that I could see this day. It is a very fortunate day. So it is a rebirth,
Hari Hari.
a new birth actually.
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Hari Bol. Jai. On the auspicious Kartik month, we could able to get initiation. That was wonderful. Hari Bol.
It's true.
Hey. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.